Hello everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to the channel. So excited you're here. We're going to be talking all things stenciling in this pretty short video. I pulled together some ideas and some things I want to share with you. Now, I've shared a lot of these in previous videos, or if you were in my live class, some of the footage might look familiar to you, but I wanted to compile it all here in one spot for you, at least so far. This is how I store my stencils. Needed to start off by saying that because I get that question all the time. And this is my go-to method. An album or a binder of some sort with page protectors keeps them all organized. Love it. Now, I also have something for you, just kind of kicking off this video. If you want my 6-page download for stencil ideas, this is just 6 pages of ways to use your stencils. It's all compiled in one place. You can grab that free download with a link in the description box if you're interested. And also there'll be a link if you really want to watch that full live class that I'm referencing. It's about a 2-hour class. You can check that link below. The download will come with the class if you're interested in that. So more details down there. Okay, let's start by talking about making your own stencils. This is a really cost-effective way to get use out of some of the dies that you have. So I just cut this shadow of the thanks out, and then I used that negative piece as a stencil. So I'm going to show you what that looks like here in a second. But use up your supplies. You can, once you run a die through your machine and you have that leftover piece on your cardstock, you can use that and turn it into a stencil. So I love doing that. This is an example with a bow. So here's just some leftover negatives from die cutting that I have, and I just place it down onto my cardstock and I ink blend some ink in it. And that's it. Now I have a shadow for this particular die, which is the bow, the more intricate piece of it. So I love that you can do this with sentiments, images, florals, whatever you have. Keep that negative and do something super fun with it. Another example that I have for that was one of my favorite cards that I made, and I'll just show you a quick clip of that. Now, this is one of the examples of using a large negative for maybe cutting out a more intricate die cut. So this was a floral. This floral specifically is by Lou Collins. And I'm just ink blending some primary colors, getting a really beautiful blend of different variations of color in between those blends. Also, quick plug for an ink blending class I have coming up on May 25th. Check that out if you'd like to join. No risk. You can pay what you want, come as low as $1, and you get all kinds of goodies with it. It's going to be a great time. So if you want to join us, again, that description box, I'll tell you, that's where all the goods are, down there. All right, back to stenciling. So another thing you can do with your stencils is use your die cuts as the stencil. Right here I have this slimline die that I cut out of watercolor cardstock, and I placed it down so I can get a stencil look. Great thing is I have now a sprayed top, so that'll be the actual die cut, and then I have this bottom if I wanted to use that as a background. Moving right along, another way to make your own stencils is to use some contact paper and some cardstock. So you take this cardstock. I would probably recommend, if you're going to do both sides of contact paper, I would recommend a thinner cardstock or paper. But if you're just going to do one side, maybe a sturdier 80 to 100 pound cardstock. Okay, so you're going to place the contact paper right over that and then just cut it down. So this portion right here, I love this hack for multiple reasons. But for one, you can make your own stencil, and because it's contact paper on top, you actually can just wipe it clean very easily. I'm going to take some dies that I have in my stash here. I have some circles, I have some hearts, and I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine. Cuts beautifully. Like I said, if you use both sides contact paper, I'd probably use thin so that it goes through, thin cardstock so it goes through your die cutting machine, okay? Or just use another shim on top of it to kind of make that pressure a little bit more firm. So there's my homemade stencil, and I'm just going to show you really quickly here as I'm doing some ink blending onto it. I get a lot of questions about the mat I'm using underneath that's holding all that stuff down. That is the Altenew Ultra Sticky Grid Mat. Waffle Flower makes them. Altenew just came out with a huge one that I'm loving. So just to answer that question if I do get it. Okay. here I'm going to just show you how fun that is, especially if you just use one ink color and put a little bit more gradient. Watch how easy this cleans up. One of my favorite parts. And then I'm going to show you another use. It's not stencil related, but another use for what I just showed you here. So it cleans right up, easy peasy. So the other thing I wanted to share about this is it makes the most fantastic craft mat. You can use a larger piece of cardstock and a larger piece of contact paper and get a fantastic tool. You want the kind of craft mat that beads up your ink when you're ink smushing. They work just the best. They make everything smooth, and it's just really highly recommended. Contact paper is amazing. All right, we are moving on to using embossing paste or any kind of paste with your stencils. Now, this particular item is called Duo Deco Foil. So you can use it without heat if you want to. And I have to tell you, either skip ahead to the end or please stay to the end, because I want you to see my first impression, real life reaction to how this comes out of my die cutting machine. It was during the live class, and it was the first time I did it correctly, thanks to all of you who helped me out, because it takes a village to raise this crafter. And I have to show you how exciting it was. Okay, still on this theme with embossing pastes, I'm going to show you you can alter your pastes to get more out of your products and use them with your stencils. So I am using on this one, this is the scrapbook.com Cloud Whip, and it looks real chunky and dry inside the jar, but don't be fooled, it's not dried. You pull it out, put it on your mat, and you kind of like mix it up, and it becomes like a cream cheesy type of texture. So I added some pops of color to mine because why not? I have this stuff, and I wanted to alter up the color a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is mix my colors, but I'm going to start from the bottom and move my way up because I didn't want to cross-contaminate right away by sticking it right into that coral color. So I'm going to move up in the up direction, and then I kind of mix the two across the middle, and I get a really, really pretty blend. So yeah, embossing paste, so fun, and it adds such texture to your projects when you use your stencils with it. It's fantastic. All right, so moving on, another idea for your stencils is to rotate your stencils. So if you have something like this where it's kind of like missing parts of your stencil, you can turn your stencil and use different colors, therefore you're getting more out of it. And of course, that's what we're always about here on this channel. There's an example of that. Instead of just getting the look it's intended, you can get a whole background. Now, this is another one of rotating it a little bit to get a different look. I used two colors there, blue and yellow. Well, let me show you one of these in action. So here I have my first color down. Make sure that you clean off your stencil in between, or you'll just cross-contaminate your brushes, and you won't get what you're looking for. So take that extra step and be careful. Now I have the blue, and I'm just going to keep going in the next direction. I think I only stick with the three primary colors for this example. You can do just two. You can do maybe one in embossing and then put in gold embossing powder over it, like however you want to do that. And don't worry about the middle getting messed up, because you can always cover that up with a sentiment or something like that. Or you can just die cut a circle in the center. All right, next idea is to not rotate, but flip your stencil. So you flip your stencil to the other side, you're going to get an alternate pattern. So I love this idea. I've shared this one quite a bit in the past, but this is just such a very simple card to make. The one I'm showing you right here, you're going to get this really pretty, simple focal point on the background. It doesn't have to go all the way to the edges, which I know that could freak some people out, but try it. Just have fun with your products. Next one is going to be getting a shadow look with your stencil. So that's really fun. This is what we're looking for, right? I'm going to use different colors in this example, but that's the look we're going for. The first thing you want to do is place down a light gray onto through your stencil. Don't worry about it if it's not showing that much. Now, the reason I'm using Distress Oxide inks is because they lay on top of the paper. They also allow for other colors to be placed on top, and they'll cover them up. So that's really helpful when you want to cover up most of the gray that I just showed you. I'm only leaving a very small shadow. See on this card, you can barely see that shadow, but it makes those dots look like they're popping up off the paper. It's such a cool illusion. I love that. So then I'm going to go back in, and I originally wanted to try doing it with yellow and blue again, but I changed my mind because the yellow wasn't covering as much as I wanted it to, so I needed a darker color. So I went back in just with that blue, and because it was already yellowed down, it made it into like a deep hunter green at the bottom. So cool, still happy with it. So I still get sort of a gradient look. But there you can see those dots. Again, they look like they're popping off. All right, let's kick it into the next one, which is masking and stenciling. So we're going to combine two techniques, and I'm going to die cut this through this masking paper. I cannot recommend enough the rock, paper, scissors removable label or sticker sheets. I will link them below. It is such a bang for your buck. They are fantastic. They never rip your cardstock, and I really love them, and so much more affordable than some of the craft branded ones. So I'm going to place down my star. I used the outer piece, I guess it would be called the negative of that masking paper, onto my card panel, and I'm going to be stenciling that star through. Now you can notice I used two different colors. I used a gray and a black, and that's just to give some gradient look. And how fun is that? Two techniques, love it. Okay, so I'm just going to show you real quick clips here of how you can, this is such a versatile design, how you can design it with so many different ways. So that's probably one of my favorite ways to use stencils. I think it's just great. All right, now you can take the other side as well and just mask off the center, stencil the rest. There you go. You have two cards in one. Okay, as promised, here is my live reaction from finally doing it right with the transfer gel, the Duo transfer gel from Deco Foil. This is like I feel like I'm at 4th of July fireworks where you're waiting for the grand finale. This is like the grand finale. Okay, hold on. Don't let me down, Deco. Don't do it. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. It's so good. It's so good. Oh my goodness. Holy cannoli. I just didn't put the Deco Foil good down there. Wow. Look at this. This is fun. This is great. No heat. Right through the die cutting machine. I love it. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. That made it worth it. Thank you to whoever, I know it's more than one of you, who told me, basically, Mary, you're doing it wrong. Get your stuff together. Okay. Well, I hope you had fun as we discovered a few extra things about our stencils that we can do, and I hope this video was helpful. A couple reminders, if you want that stencil download, it's a free download, link below. If you want to join us for the next ink blending class, because obviously that's the kind of fun we're having in there, you can click that link as well. I hope to see you in class. And if not, I will see you all in the comments down below and in the next video. Bye-bye.